18% less than this time last year and 4 years ago. Shannon?
All right, Peter Ducey live in that battleground state of Ohio. Thank you. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are focusing on that battleground state with just 3 days left until the election. According to the Real Clear Politics average of polls, Trump holds a slight lead of a little more than 3 points. The Buckeye State is vitally important to Trump, as no Republican nominee has ever gone on to win the White House without it. Joining me now, Jay Chabria, a former senior advisor to Ohio Governor John Kasich and managing director for the Mercury Company. Jay, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. What
is going to make the difference in the Buckeye State? We talked a little bit about Pennsylvania, about how manufacturing, blue collar, coal workers, those were things that Trump had made a very direct appeal to. Does some of that translate across the border in Ohio as well?
Well, it absolutely does. Pennsylvania and Ohio share a lot in common. What's really remarkable about this race, first of all, it's all about turnout right now at this point. Everything's about turnout, and that's why you're seeing Hillary's having concerts with Jay-Z and Beyonce, and she's campaigning with LeBron James in Cleveland tomorrow. So it's all about turnout. What's really interesting about Ohio is that traditional Democrat places like Youngstown and Toledo may go Republican or stronger Republican than they have in the past, because those are the issues that Donald Trump speaks to. But areas that are traditionally solidly Republican, places like Delaware County, that is a collar county of Columbus, will likely vote less Republican and more Democrat because they've got a lot of college-educated white women. And that's going to be the thing that throws everything out here in kind of turmoil, because no one really knows what's going to happen, because we don't know where the votes are coming from.
I read some accounts just a couple of days ago that the African-American early vote is down in Ohio, that it had been at lower levels than it was, the last couple of election cycles, down closer to, what we saw during President Bush 43's second term, his reelection. How much could that matter in Ohio?
Oh, it matters a great deal, and that's been the shocking thing to me, to see that the Hillary campaign has not done a good enough job turning out the African-American vote. Sure, they've got the concerts with Beyonce, they've got the concerts with Jay-Z, and they've got LeBron James tomorrow, but Cuyahoga County is way down from where it was before. That's where Cleveland is. But I will say this, I was told today that Franklin County, which is where Columbus is, another big urban county, is they're just having a tremendous turnout today. There were 750 voters an hour going through those centers. So that's a place where Hillary's going to look and say they're turning out the vote.
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about enthusiasm, though, hers has been dropping off. When you look at it nationally in the polling, it shows that his has been up, hers has been down. We always talk about these national numbers, but of course, that the Electoral College and state by state is what matters. It sounds like, they're leveraging the enthusiasm where they need to, or at least trying to. Is that something you've been able to measure at all there in Ohio?
Look, if you had told me a week ago if you had asked me who was going to win Ohio, I would have said Hillary Clinton, absolutely. When the FBI story came out, you could absolutely see her enthusiasm dip. There was no doubt about it, and I think that alarm bells went off in Hillary Clinton's campaign office. Now, I will say this. They are doing everything they can, and they're heavily targeting the state. They're doing everything they can to turn out the vote. And what doesn't make sense to me is why Donald Trump is not going to be in Ohio, a state that he has to have our 18 electoral votes. He's spending time now in a place like Minnesota, which if he wins Minnesota, it's going to be a landslide election for Republicans. Let's be clear here. That's likely not going to happen. So for him not to be in the Buckeye State, but Hillary being here over and over again, that might make a difference.
Yeah, and that's where the turnout of that trip to Minnesota. I mean, he and his campaign have been talking about picking off blue states. I mean, he needs to hold GOP states, and those that are leaning GOP, he's got to pick up toss-up states as well. What do you make of the strategy about Minnesota?
Malpractice. I'm going to tell you, it's malpractice. If Donald Trump loses this election, and if he loses it by just losing Ohio, he should not be saying this is a rigged election. It is bad campaign practice. You do not go into places where you're not going to win in the last days. The most important thing for a campaign is allocation of their resources, and the most important resource is the candidate's time itself. And for him to be in a place like Minnesota, it's just silly, and that's the only way you can describe it. Silly.
Well, Ohio is critical to either of these candidates. It's got to be at least one of the main linchpins of winning. Jay Chabria, thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
If Hillary Clinton emerges victorious on Tuesday, she might not be enjoying any kind of honeymoon period at all on Capitol Hill. Republicans are already talking about toppling a Clinton presidency, and whether that's even appropriate with the election still up in the air. Plus, an electoral college with an emphasis on cocktails, the storied tradition of this patriotic pub.
Bye.